All right, let's talk some halftime show. I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. I don't know. I mean, yeah, those guys are older. Snoop Dogg still got it. I guess the New York Post posted some picture like Snoop Dogg smoked weed before he went on stage. Like, and?
So what?
I mean, first of all, it's actually legal. It's actually legal. There was no illegal activity taking place. Technically doing it in a public place could have been, but whatever. I almost felt like that headline should have said Snoop Dogg, smokes reefer, right? That felt so dated as a headline. It needed a little reefer. Some sort of 60s headline to it. I thought it was good. Do I think it's the best ever? No. Not. I mean, what's going to compare with Prince playing Purple Rain in the rain? Forget about the fact that Prince died. It's not even that. It's at the time. I also think there's something to playing your instruments. Like, I thought the national anthem was spectacular. And, we all match it up against Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston lip synced the national anthem. That doesn't count. Doesn't count. And so I think all those guys were really rapping and Mary J. Blige was singing last night. I don't know. But if you're not playing, were those guys really playing instruments or not? Because there was a couple times where there's some dudes playing instruments that they weren't playing instruments. What do you think there, John Ramos? How much instrument playing was there?
I don't think I think the drums may have been live and stuff like that. It didn't really matter to me. It's all good. It's a show, right? It's entertainment. Like, I'm not sitting there going, that guy ain't playing the bass. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about having a good time. And I don't know what you're going to say about the halftime show particularly. It sounds like you liked it. I thought it was excellent. In fact, if you saw the people in the background, they kind of showed the fans. There were people like just jamming in the back. They were like dancing and having a good time. And that's what it's for. It's supposed to have a good time. Let's have a good time out there.
We're annoying.
We are.
We are annoying. All of you. And look, I can be just as much a part of this, but I'm with you. Like, we have to do this, like, let's pull the all-time list of great shows, right? It's like sometimes you're morally offended if somebody goes like, well, I thought Prince is better. No, you're wrong. Like, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? Fitty looked like a buck Fitty, right? Actually, he looked more like 3 Fitty than Fitty.
Poor guy had to hang upside down, too. That's a lot of weight,
That's a lot. There was a lot of blood rushing to his head. There was. I thought the Bengals should have tapped him on the shoulder and go like, hey, any chance you can block? We need somebody in that right guard spot.
Oh, man.
He looked like a right guard. I thought there was a lot of Dre. If anybody, I thought Eminem kind of missed a little bit of the moment. I love Lose Yourself as a song. It is fascinating, like how 20 years later, Eminem's in the NFL. Like, if you would have gone back to when it was Hi, My Name Is, back in his first album release, there's no way he plays something as mainstream as the Super Bowl. But I thought Eminem, with the look, it's like it's better off to see your face to relate it. He was just wearing like a weird hat. I don't know. I thought Snoop was great, but Snoop's always great. And it was really cool because my kids are watching it and they're sitting there going, beforehand, they're like, I don't even know anything Snoop sings. And they're like, kind of like Snoop Dogg. Good. That's the whole point. So to me, the 3 most memorable things of that Super Bowl, I think the halftime show will be in there. Although it's weird to do something very LA and then you have guys from all over in terms of rap. But you could have done strictly an LA one, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. That'll probably be like third. In terms of plays on the football field, I think, Cincinnati was sacked 7 times. 7. So I would guess maybe the last play, and then the Cooper Kupp game-winning touchdown catch. I think the rest gets caught. Like, we forget who is the Bengal who was out in his slides, in his house shoes, jumping on the field when they got the interception. Like, what was that? I would say act like you've been there before. The Bengals clearly hadn't been there before in a long time. I don't know. Jason Stewart, what are your 3 most memorable things?
You know what? You actually took a couple of mine. Vernon Hargreaves going onto the field and getting the taunting penalty. One of the most dumbass decisions I've seen in a long time. Like at any point, nobody told him that you're not supposed to do that if you're in street clothes. Yeah, the Cooper Kupp thing at the end, everyone has said this, but the Bengals knew the Rams were going to him, and he still made it all work. But I think the Rock's over-the-top intro, I wasn't into it. I didn't quite get what his deal was. I don't know if he was trying to do the Michael Buffer thing, or
he was doing Bruce Buffer.
Yeah,
Bruce Buffer does the "It's time."
Yeah, and it didn't quite land. I mean, it seemed like he was doing a half intro.
Right, this is nitpicky, and I know he didn't pick out his own stuff, and the dude is ridiculously yoked and ripped. But it was weird where he has two different colors of maroon on. Anybody else notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, Dan Byer, I'm interested in your take on the Rock thing. And I know that NBC has Peacock has WWE, so there's probably some of that part of the tie.
I think it wasn't just The Rock. I actually think the halftime show, they were trying to overcompensate, I felt, from last year's lack of Super Bowl. So let's just put everything in this one. There's the halftime show for me, and I was excited when it was announced and thought it would be great. No offense to 50 Cent, but we didn't need more. If it was just Dre, Snoop, and Eminem, it would have been magnificent. It would have been great. I didn't want to just hear one song from Eminem or one song. I wanted to hear other ones, and I think that, the game broadcast for us started at 3:00 local time here in LA, and the kickoff didn't happen until 3:40, and that's with the 6-hour pregame that NBC had. But there were all these things. There was the coin toss. There were, America, all that was stuff that you had before. But yeah, The Rock was just extra. Now we're kicking off at 3:40. It just seemed like they tried to overcompensate with everything to maybe make up for last year when there wasn't everything. That's the sense that I got. Okay. And your thought about the play of the Super Bowl that I think will be remembered will be the Donald sack. I think that will be the play.
Who do you think was the MVP?
Yeah, I think it was. I thought it was Cooper Kupp. The Rams, nobody could really do anything offensively in the second half, and when push came to shove, you went to your best weapon. When the Bengals knew you had to go to your best weapon, and it was him. And
Only
Donald,
weapon.
What's that?
Only weapon.
Yeah, it was. It truly was. So I agree with Cooper Kupp being that guy. Touchdowns help, but yeah, it was Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about you, Jay Stu? Most memorable moment? You think Vernon Hargreaves? But that's not going to go down as a historically memorable moment.
No. We'll probably forget about that. But in the moment, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I think Kupp catching that last pass from me. The play prior to that, where he just got laid out, and that was so strange because I didn't know what was going on at that time. I know there was a couple penalties going on, but my question was, did he make the catch? Is that a touchdown? If there isn't a penalty here, did he make the catch? Was it or was he pushed out of bounds? I wasn't given clarity by Al Michaels in that moment, and I was kind of looking for it. But Cooper Kupp in general is my biggest takeaway. I like your line about Maria Taylor telling us that the greatest moment in the history of music is about to happen. And then Al Michaels actually teased it like music's best moment of the year. It's like, you're speaking for music, Al Michaels? It was just strange. And then,
well, these are all, by the way, these are all things that are scripted, right? Maria didn't come up with that on her own. And
right.
Al Michaels, he's reading from a card, right? And again, somebody who's listening is like, well, you're trying to diminish. No, I'm not. I'm telling you how network television works. It's way more scripted than cable television is. That people you don't wing it. You don't wing it. It's like you were making fun of Drew Brees on social media for his pregame analysis was what?
Pregame analysis. The keys to the Bengals, they have to stop the big plays, limit Cooper Kupp in those pivotal moments, and then figure out a way to stop OBJ. Well, they failed on each of them.
Yes, because that's groundbreaking stuff. Just even the whole keys of the game is really something that is classic 1980s TV. I hate when you do keys to the game, like score more points than the other team, don't turn it over. Like those are the we can do that in any game.
It's the source, though, right, Doug? I mean, it's like that guy must have watched hours of film on each of these teams. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yes, but
and that's the insight he delivered.
Here's what you got to understand. Let me be fair to Drew. Okay, and the pushback is really simple. The pushback is, his analysis is bland and milquetoast every time. That's fine. I'm just going to tell you that working from ESPN or even doing CBS in the regular season to when you're working in the Final Four, like people who are watching, you have 120 million people watching. Okay, and the hardcore sports fans, you're like, they're going to play the cover 4 shell, and you got that doesn't. You got to give people something really, really easy. Yes, you have to dumb it down. You just do. Can you back it up with some video, which they did at half? And I thought he was better at the half. Yes, but all of that stuff is you have a meeting the night before, and they're like, "What are you going to say?" You're like, we got to take away Cooper Kupp and got to run Vice coverage, and they talk you out of it, and they want to give you something so that a 50-year-old dude who's got people over at the house has the TV cranked up. You give him a couple of things to look for, and that's it. That's network TV in a nutshell. I thought, who's the young woman who did Sideline for NBC? Who I think she was an athlete at Rutgers.
Is it Catherine? Is it Tappan? Or
yes. Okay, she's fine. I mean, I'm sure she's good and going to get better. She asked a weird question at the end of the game. You get like 3 questions. Was it Matt Stafford? Like, what do you admire most about this team? It was very much a network TV question. I thought they didn't use Maria Taylor enough. They got all these people, and she's a really good sideline reporter covering football. Because I would have liked to know. I mean, again, that's when you can get right off the field is where you can get kind of football-y, right, with your questions. Doesn't have to. The game's over. It can be kind of inside football, And what were you? Where were you when Aaron Donald got the sack? And were you nervous? And boy, you almost seemed to was the plan to only use Cooper Kupp? Right? What are your thoughts on OBJ? There's a bunch of other stuff. I was a little underwhelmed. But overall it was great. I mean, it was a good watch. It was a close game. It wasn't the most entertaining game in terms of high scoring, but it was a good little chess match taking place. Burrow was never comfortable. Stafford was slightly more comfortable. I do think the officials missed a couple. Do I think they did it to help the Rams? No. Did it help the Rams? Yes. It's a good football game.
What did you tweet, Dan?
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if it was. I was not locked in. I just told these guys in the last break that the game just all of a sudden ended. Like it was. Well,
it did go. It went. The third quarter went really, really fast.
It was
really fast because the Bengals scored. Early in the quarter, and then the rest of it was just teams trying to run the football. They couldn't do anything, and they'd run, punt, move on, and we're moving on.
When they ran it on 3rd and short and didn't get it, and I actually thought it was maybe even a bad spot. I thought it was a
bad spot too, but I think he stuck out his hand that didn't have the ball in. Have you seen that replay?
No, but all of a sudden, then 4th down just happened, and then the game was over, and it was. Yeah, it was. I tried to get locked into the game, and it just wasn't happening. And when you sit back and you think of what happened, and again, this is not to take anything away from the Rams winning the Super Bowl; they're Super Bowl champions. But the Bengals, finished with 20 points in the second half. They got the long touchdown from Higgins on the non-PI call on Jalen Ramsey, and then their other points were set up on the next play on the tip ball interception. That's all that the Bengals did in the second half. And the Rams were having their own darn troubles in trying to figure out a way to score. Yeah, it was a close game. I just don't think it was a good game.
But there's lots of games that are like that, right? Like Carolina, both times Carolina was in the Super Bowl were not well-played games. Carolina, Denver, I mean, Cam Newton was awful the whole game. He still had the ball, a chance to drive down the field, was down 6 points because Peyton Manning was terrible. He was completely washed up, right? And their special teams and their defense won in that game. Carolina, New England, first time. But it did. Look, it gave us a couple of great plays. Do think it was trending. It was trending the way of a blowout before OBJ got hurt. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yes, but I would also say this, that is also the role of the Bengals. Like when we saw the Bengals come back from their game against Kansas City, that maybe you thought it was going to play out that where, hey, does Cincinnati got them where they want them? You know, like is that so? Not saying that they needed to get down 21-3, but there was just once OBJ went out and the Rams were handcuffed on offense and Cincinnati couldn't block the Rams defense, the defensive front. It was a close game. I just don't know how much it locked people in because I just don't know. I had trouble figuring out what 3 plays or 3 moments that I would write down from the Super Bowl. It reminds me a little bit of, actually, you brought up other Super Bowl. It reminds me a little bit of Ravens-Niners in Super Bowl 47, where the thing we most remember is the lights going out in that game. And I don't know if that's going to be the halftime show or what we remember from it, but that was a good game. Joe Flacco ends up getting the MVP. He gets his Super Bowl. I'll probably remember this most for Matthew Stafford getting a Super Bowl, like in general, not specific play. But when I look back in history, I'll be like, oh, that's when Stafford got his ring. That's what I'll probably look back on it, just like I look back at that Ravens one. That was when Joe Flacco led the Ravens to the Super Bowl. So it didn't, I mean, I had no dog in the fight, and maybe that was even part of it. But yeah, it was just a weird game. There wasn't anything to lock into. There wasn't momentum in the second half to think that things were going one way.
Both
or another.
offensive lines were bad. Both defensive lines were really good. And I think that's part of either team. I mean, and that's just a hard thing to watch. It's a very football thing, but a hard thing to watch.
And I know we have to, but just when you look back at the Packers-Niners game that they played at Lambeau, and that game was 13-10, and I know the elements played into it. That had me more locked in than this one. And some of the elements that you could say, that maybe were lacking in that 49ers game were the same thing that were lacking here, but for some reason I was locked into that one more than this one.
Okay. Let's get to Dan Byer and get what else is going on in sports. Dan, what do you got?
Well, in that game last night, Rams wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. had to leave with a knee injury, and the NFL Network says he tore his ACL in that left knee, second torn ACL in that left knee for OBJ in 16 months. Rams Super Bowl parade will take place on Wednesday in Los Angeles. LeBron James took to Twitter to say that they should have a championship parade for the Rams, the Lakers, who at last check won it a year and a half ago, and the Dodgers, who also won it a year and a half ago, so everybody could have their full championship parade. So I guess it would be a super parade in L.A. was LeBron's suggestion. Rams will just have their own parade on Wednesday.
Okay, so wait, what does LeBron want? He wants a victory parade?
He tweeted because the Lakers, weren't able to get their championship parade from winning in 2020, and the same thing for the Dodgers, that they should combine forces and just have this super parade to celebrate all of those titles.
How about we make the playoffs first?
Oh,
how about we make the playoffs? How about we pull ourselves out from? They look better against Golden State, but yeah, you kind of missed that window.
Could be LeBron's way of trying to remind Laker fans that hey,
remember we won a title. Yeah, we forgot it was in a bubble. It totally is. It totally is. I mean, look, we're going to pretend like everybody loves the Rams. The Rams still the, at best, second most, probably third most popular football team in Southern California. Most popular would be the Raiders. Second most popular, I think, is SC. Rams probably creep up there. Although the Dallas Cowboys play the Rams tomorrow at SoFi. What percentage of fans are Cowboy fans? What percentage of fans are Ram fans in that stadium? Ramos, what do you think?
I don't know. I worry about who wins the game, which would be the Rams.
John is so mad right now. John is hated the last 10 minutes.
They'd smoke the Cowboys. It wouldn't even be close.
But seriously, won't it be like the most unattended Super Bowl parade we've seen? I mean, will it marvel?
Well, it depends on where you have it. Listen, if you have it in the right place of L.A., you got enough homeless people that it doesn't.
Come on now.
It'd be really well attended. I mean, technically they were there anyway. Like, you hold it at Venice Beach, and I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people already in attendance.
That's so good. Like, what was the last WNBA title?
How did they not have? How did they? By the way, how did they have like that was supposed to be like an LA city grid right underneath them when they're dancing last night during the halftime show? Like, they should have had some homeless people hanging out, right? You want to really make it an LA Super Bowl,
jeez,
right? And then you got people all masked up and like wearing the hazmat suits. Like, if you really want, like, have fun with it.
They should have just filled the entire field with cars and be like, "This is the 405."
Or it starts late.
At 6 o'clock.
Listen. And then, oh, I got it. Wait, I got it. And then somebody's got to be involved in there's got to be a police chase that interrupts the halftime show.
Around the infield.
Right? Wouldn't that be amazing? All of a sudden there's like a you could do like a little mini helicopter following one of those cars, right? That's how they should have started the show. Why didn't they ask us for a creative?
Man.
Like, look, if we're going to say, like, all the things LA has the best weather, has the best sports. Now, you're starting to have the best football stadium in the country. Going to have the best basketball arena. That's going to be the Clippers when that thing opens up, right? You got all this great. You got all these nationalities and people represented. Like, we're going to really represent. Like, we should really represent Los Angeles. A car chase is an LA thing, and we're not the and LA is not the only place with homeless people. It just feels that way.
I mean, there hasn't been a Super Bowl since the incident. I mean, would the NFL sanction a white Bronco coming into the end zone or coming into the stadium and OJ actually getting out?
OJ could actually get out, right?
I thought Tupac was going to come out for a second there yesterday when all of a sudden California Love started playing.
Did I.
If you were going to cut somebody from the halftime show, like, would you? Mary J. Blige, I think, is the most accomplished performer out there, I believe, in terms of Grammy Awards or whatever. So I'm not sure I would have cut Mary J. I think, do you cut Eminem or do you cut 50 Cent?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah. Personally, I would have cut Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, come on, guys.
I didn't even know what that song was.
What
song is that?
That was them trying to reach, how do we, reach every different audience? That's what it was. And thinking like, okay, the younger kids will want to hear Kendrick Lamar. The older people will want to hear that. That was their effort. Yeah. They should have cut
I really
it by
like
50%.
Kendrick. Yeah,
I like Kendrick too, and my son digs that song. But I'm with you. But at least he's an LA dude, right? Whereas 50 Cent, like, when was the last time he performed?
Well, he wasn't even promoted. That's why it was kind of a weird thing for me when I saw him.
He
like,
was the hidden
did
one.
we know he was coming?
No, that was the surprise. That was
showed up
that.
at the party?
They were talked about a surprise guest, and that's who it ended up being. Like, think about it. Maroon 5 did the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they had the whole set, and Travis Scott came out in there and did, like, a song. But it was all Maroon 5. Yet we have to split up Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar. Like, what are we doing here? We just gave, whatever, for 10 minutes. That was my Adam. Is that his name? Adam Levine?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, they had the whole stage 3 Super Bowls ago. Yet we have to split up. Didn't make much sense. The Weeknd last year had the whole Super Bowl show to himself.
That's right.
Yeah, it was just too much.
It's a great point. It should be pointed out, though, that part of it is, if you sign up for Dr. Dre, he's he's more producer than rapper, and those
correct.
That's his crew.
You know what you do? You have the stages that they have. Snoop's on the left, Eminem's on the right, Dr. Dre's in the middle, and then you just go back and forth from hit to hit.
Boom, Dan Byer, ladies and gentlemen. Boom.
That's what you do.